on today's podcast, we're going to talk about how to put yourself out there as a woodpreneur. Welcome to the Woodpreneur podcast, the number one podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood flooring, and sawmill industry. I'm your host, Steve from Acres of Timber. Each week, we feature various wood business owners and entrepreneurs from around the globe. We share their stories, paths, insights so that you can network, learn, and grow your own wood business. Thank you so much for listening. Now enjoy the episode. All right, so welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Steve Larzliere, and today I'm going to talk about how to put yourself out there more, and it's also talking about personal branding. And so, in an industry as competitive as home service, woodworking, lumber, like personal branding can really make a difference between thriving and blending in. And, I get it. Most woodpreneurs are humble, right? They want to let their work speak for themselves. Hey, Steve Larzliere here. Sorry to interrupt this great episode of the Woodpreneur podcast, but I want to let you know that we are just releasing our latest training. And over this training, I go over how I helped generate $200,000 and 300 leads for clients. And during this 45-minute training, we will go over the frameworks, the strategies, and the concepts that you need to scale from 6 figures to 7 figures, or even just get started. These are the building blocks that I've seen help wood, lumber, furniture, millwork companies grow and scale. So I've been hearing it lots of times, like, I just need a training, I need a training. So we finally put it together. So wherever you're consuming this, just click the link in the description and you'll be able to access it. But in today's day and age, like, you have to put yourself out there. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about how to overcome those objections or overcome those mental blocks, and how you can actually do it. So I'll be explaining what putting yourself out there means, why it's crucial, and how to start embracing the idea of standing out. So putting yourself out there really means showing up, being consistent, putting your face out there. It just means showcasing yourself, your personality, your work, your story, and just like the journey of building this business. I've said this many times on the podcast that back 20, 30 years ago, the only way people knew about you was from the yellow pages, or you had to advertise in the radio or on a billboard, or you had to have a business on a main street in a downtown location. And so now with social media and technology, your profiles are your storefronts, and the internet and social media are the main street. And so the biggest thing is about being authentic. So one of the things that I do with clients is I kind of tell them that it's okay to be yourself. I actually don't want you to be anybody else. I want you to be the type of person that shows up authentically. And how can you show up authentically? Is by being genuine and transparent, true to yourself, at your highest form. The one that you see yourself connecting with when you are delivering work and you're pushing yourself out there and you're like working really hard, or the ones that your family and loved ones truly see the best in you. That's who I want you to be when you show up. And so, just some examples. So I have a client, Justin. He's been here. I told him, like, he's into wood, his family, and hunting. And so, hunting season comes around, he creates content around that. The fact that he's hunting and that he goes hiking, solo hikes on the weekend, it's like really helps him resonate with his customers, right? I have another client. She is a homeschooler and she's works and like she talks about her family and the activities that they do and their homeschooling project, and that enables them to connect to people. And one of the things that I told her was like, hey, I bet you if you put your picture as your profile and it's not like, the American flag or your dog or your kid as your profile on your pages or your logo, if you take I said, I bet you if you put your picture out there that you'll make more money. And she, no, without fail, she put her picture up. She got a bunch of comments, and all of the people that she put quotes out there for, they like, she closed 1 or 2 table deals as a result of it. And so, and then I also want to tell you too, because I remember meeting Matt Cremona years ago. I had him on a summit. I did a Woodpreneur summit. And I said, Matt, like, you show up all the time in your YouTube channel. I was like, but you kind of seem like a shy person, or like an introverted person. And he was like, I just pretend like I'm talking to one person. Like, he's not pretending like he's talking to a lot of people. But I remember him saying, he's like, yeah, like, I just pretend like I'm talking to one person and I'm just myself. And so that's kind of a way for you to look at it. The other thing too is, if you like money, you're going to show your face, because if you don't like money, you're going to hide. And so if you like money, you're going to show your face. So, now I'm going to talk about why it's important. So it allows you to build trust and credibility with people. So when your audience knows the person behind the wood, lumber, contracting, flooring, whatever, millwork company, like, trust naturally flows. So in many ways, those that are, I've done, even my clients, like, the best people that are my best clients are people that have listened to this podcast for a long time. And there's something about me that resonates with you, whether it's the way I talk, or whether it's my amazing looks, or my amazing, or the value that I give. Like, I build trust. Why? Because I show up every single week. In fact, I show up multiple times a week. So you can trust the fact that I will always deliver. So imagine that level of authenticity and consistency in your business by merely showing up, right? It also differentiates you from your competitors, because again, your competitors are not even watching this, right? And so when you have a strong personal brand, it helps you stand out in a market, because now people think of you when you are when they have, their woodworking needs, or they need lumber, or they need millwork services, like, they're thinking about you. And also, by being yourself, it draws you naturally to the people who resonate with your values, your style, your content. So now, by being yourself, you're going to start to attract the right people toward you. It also enhances brand loyalty. So customers who connect with your brand on a personal level are more likely to return. And then, the fun part, honestly, is that personal branding and putting yourself out there creates so many more opportunities. Like, the news can show up, or, for a couple clients, they've gotten opportunities to, like, host TV shows. They've got invited to business plan competitions, like, literally by showing up. It attracts more connections, collaboration, and growth. So now you're probably talking about, okay, Steve, I believe in you. Like, I believe in what you're saying. And so one of the things, so I'm going to talk about, like, how to actually start doing it. So for one is, I want you to put into your mind that you're not doing it for yourself. Like, if you have a talent, if you have a skill, if you have this gift of craftsmanship, that that when people get your work, you're going to help change their life, right? They're going to get that table, they're going to get that lumber that they're going to build their new addition on their house. You're going to make their home or their business so much nicer with your craftsmanship. Like, you owe it to yourself, and you owe it to them to put yourself out there, because many times people just don't know that you exist, and you have to make them exist. You have to let them know that you exist. And so, for one is, I would start with stories. I would start with Instagram stories. That's kind of how I did it. Like, start with Instagram stories, start with Facebook stories. And the mindset around that is really, it's like, you post it up and it's 24 hours. and that's it. It's gone. So you don't have to think about it. And, obviously the first thing you do is change your profile pictures to a nice picture smiling of you. That's what I want you to do first. And then start with like a couple stories and walk people through what you're doing that day. That's a great way to start doing it. Then the next thing is like start creating content around walking people through the journey, telling stories about yourself or telling stories about the clients or the projects that you're working on, or educate people on the process in which you are building your products and services, right? And then the next thing is I want you to be consistent. Do 2 to 5 stories a day. Posting every day, posting every other day, but start small. And then the other thing too is ask for feedback. Ask for, like, if you say, I like this picture or that picture, like ask people for comments or feedback. And then the next thing is I want you to network. So go to people that could be your audience and DM them. It's like, hey, I live in the same town as you. I wondered if you ever needed a dining table. I wonder if you ever need a mudroom or built-in. I wonder if you need any moldings. I wonder if you need any flooring. Like, just start asking people. The other thing too is that you can also network with other woodworkers and other lumber people, other woodpreneurs, by commenting on their posts and asking them advice or giving them advice or feedback. Again, you just overall, like, really, you want to build the type of platform by putting yourself out there that you start attracting the right people to you. You start building and forming relationships that are authentic, that add value to your life. Do giveaways, right? Like, giveaways allow you to just truly, I mean, you have this talent, you have to you can't try to monetize right away. You have to build some goodwill, build some value in the marketplace, and then watch. It's going to be like, I've gotten the most incredible relationships, and my life has changed by simply putting myself out there. Like, starting this podcast changed my life. I've gotten it literally, and even doing that in my other businesses before, I've gotten to travel the world because I put myself out there. My family's life is better when I put myself out there. Like, I make more money when I put myself out there. And I'll say something a little bit more vulnerable. So for those that have been following the podcast for a while, you know that for a long time, you never knew what I look like. And I had all these limiting beliefs and self-esteem issues just around showing up and being myself. Like, you wouldn't know that. But like, I was like, I'm just going to hide behind a podcast and it'll just be my voice. And even my Instagram account, I never showed my face at all. But then when during the pandemic, I decided I moved to Michigan for a year while my place was under construction in Chicago. So I lived with my in-laws, and they have a wood shop and sawmill. I was like, you know what? I'm at this wood shop and sawmill for a year. I was like, what would it look like if I just put myself out there? So I literally showed my face and I told stories, and I felt more authentic, right? Because I got to be in a sawmill and I was, building stuff. So I felt more authentic. So that's one of the sort of justifications that I felt for putting myself out there more. And would you believe that, like, I connected with you more, like the Woodpreneur community, so much more, because it was like, I was this face now. I wasn't just Steve from the podcast. Like, I showed my face more. I connected. People could see my face with my voice. So it built trust. Like, I literally made double the amount of money that year. And I was like, all right, this is it. And then I started coaching Jake from Olagan Sawmill around the same time. And I told him, hey, do the same thing. His business blew up every day. You can go to his, without fail, he is showing up on stories every day. He's posting every day. His business blew up because he put himself out there. And that was the strategy. I was like, you know what? Put yourself out there every day. Show up, show up, show up. So anyway, listen, I hope this convinced you to do it. I have a whole entire framework around this, and you should check out the training at the end in probably the description. And I talk about how I helped businesses generate $200,000 in revenue in 15 days and 300 leads. It's probably up to 250,000, 260,000 now. And so and this is all lessons that I've learned from coaching people. Literally using part of this method is building a personal brand. So I have this whole personal brand framework that I coach people on. And so I'm going to show you how we did that. But yeah, I mean, I literally give you the blueprint. If you want help, reach out, we can do it. But click the link in the bio or click the link in the description, subscribe, rate, review, share this with friends. I'm here for the Woodpreneur community and I want you to succeed. Thanks so much for checking out our podcast. I'll talk to you soon.